lesson 4-06, creating circular pattern sketches. That's where you array a singular object, which you can see on our screen here is this like tinier circle within this larger circle. You array that object radially around the center point or the center axis of the larger circle. Cool. Let's get started. Create a new untitled document. Create a new sketch on the XZ plane. Okay, new sketch, XZ. And we already kind of have an idea of what we're gonna be making here. So made my larger circle, my smaller circle, and they'll probably have us dimension it in a second. All right, 125 millimeters on the large circle. So let's go back and dimension this guy at 125. Okay, bring this in just a tad. This one's going to be 15. It's already pretty close. Okay, so this is where we're going to practice the circular pattern. So the circle we drew, that's 15 millimeters in diameter. It can be repeated in a circular pattern around the center point of the larger circle. And to do that, we will click Create. Down here, there's circular pattern. You can also do a rectangular pattern. Maybe that's something we'll cover later on. But for now, we're going to click circular pattern. And in our little palette that comes up here, you can select the object first, or I guess it doesn't have to be first, but right now we're going to be selecting the object that will be patterned. In this case, it's this circle. And the center point that it's going to be rotated around. So that's our center point. You can change the angular spacing. So right now we just have it as full, meaning it's going to take this quantity of circles or objects, and it's going to evenly space them around the center point fully, which is 360 degrees. So these three are spaced out at 120 degrees apart. Alternatively, you can come in and click angle, and then you specify the total angle that you want your three objects in. So right now we have 180 degrees as the total angle, which means that there is 90 degrees between each of these circles. You know, we could make this whatever we want. We could say 270, right? And there's our circles there. You know, we could even say 360, and this would be the same, even though we're defining it by the angle. This would be the same as saying full, because full is 360 degrees around the center point. Let's say we want to increase to like 6. Now it's going to evenly space 6 circles around the same, center point, in this case full, so 360 degrees. All right, so that's the pattern. Let's see what they have us do now, though. Okay, we did all of step 4. It has a default value of 3. We saw that. Okay. In the control panel, increase the quantity value to 6, and notice that there are now 6 circles. Did that. We've also covered that you can use an angle as opposed to full, and your pattern will update accordingly. Okay, so let's click OK on this. And this, our parent object, excuse me, it's not fully defined yet in that we can drag it around. So notice as we drag it around here that the array it also updates. So that's what makes patterning really powerful is it would be rather tedious to create all of these circles individually, dimension all of their diameters, dimension all of their center points with respect to the origin, for example. That would take a lot of effort and time. And so this lets us, it's kind of like a kind of a cheat, or at least it expedites that process, um, and does that for us. So let's go ahead and dimension this so that we get a fully defined sketch. Let's just say 50 degrees. And let's say coincident. Oh, it won't let us do that. Oh, because it'll rotate. So I'm going to go like this. So we've defined the magnitude of this circle from the center, but we have not defined the angle, which is what we want. So now we should be able to go like vertical between this and this. Oh my gosh. What is it? I was having trouble getting the right constraint set up here, but I think I figured it out. So we're going to make this a construction line. And we want this to lie vertical. So I'm going to use collinear with this point, and this point, and that should shift them all into a single line. And you'll see that now our whole pattern is black and therefore fully constrained, which is what we wanted. Okay, they want us to, maybe I jumped the gun here. Use control panel to increase the number of instances to 8, then click the OK button. Okay, so we want to go back into the pattern itself. To increase the 6 to 8. Okay, so this little icon here is the circular pattern icon. We're going to right click on that. Let's see, right click. Maybe it's not highlighting it. There we go. Right click. Edit circular pattern, and let's increase it to 8. Yeah, right. I'm guessing they're going to have us change how we've constrained this pattern. Let's see. The original 15mm circle can be constrained to define its position. Select the 50mm circle center point, hold the control key, then select the larger circle's center point. Okay. And then click constraints, horizontal, vertical. So let's go ahead and delete our constraint there. Maybe even delete this and do what they're saying here. So this on a Mac, it's going to be Command. So we've highlighted both of those. And there we go. You can see that the vertical constraint has been added between both of those. And then we're going to dimension the radius of the pattern, which we kind of already had up, but Here it is again. Don't want that to be 45. And we're going to save this as sketch patterns. So we're done. Finish. And save as sketch pattern. All right.